You are listening to the Atlanta Real Estate Forum radio show, all about Real Estate Edition, shining a light on the movers and shakers in the real estate industry, the home builders, developers, realtors, and suppliers making it all happen. And now, here are today's hosts.
Good morning and welcome back to the All About Real Estate Edition. I am your host, Todd Schnick, joined by my friend and colleague, Carol Morgan. Before we kick things off, we do want to thank New American Funding for being our 2021 show sponsor, now our 10th year on the air. It has been wonderful having New American Funding as our partner. All right, Carol Morgan, timely conversation since we are getting back into the throes of normalcy in our work environments. And so very timely conversation.
Absolutely. This will be another good conversation. We've had a lot of really fun guests for the last, month or so and talking about COVID. And I guess that conversation is going to go on for a while. But we are fortunate to be in studio today with Steve Dils. He is the managing director and a principal at Avison Young for the Atlanta office. So welcome, Steve, and go ahead and give us that 20,000 foot view. Tell us about yourself.
All right. Well, great. Thanks for having me on. So I am the managing director, as you said. I opened the Atlanta office in 2010. Avison Young at that time was a pretty small firm. We had just started coming into the U.S. We were the third office in the U.S. For Avison Young, 17th total. Now I kind of lost track, but we're up over 120 offices, more than 55 in the U.S.
Wow.
The count has gone from, I was employee number 9 in the U.S. And I think, we were about 400 people at that time, and now we're over 5,000. So pretty rapid in the last 11 years. A lot of it based on the fact of the way we're designed. So Avison Young is the largest privately held, principal-led real estate services firm in the world. And it's a different model. Most of our large competitors are publicly traded. We are not, and that's done on purpose. We want our principals to have ownership in the company and try and deal with our clients maybe in a little bit different way than those at the publicly traded firms are able to because of the way we're structured.
All right. Well, for those watching who are not familiar with Avison Young, give us that overview of the organization, mission and purpose.
That's a great one. So Avison's been around for over 40 years in Canada in various forms. We're privately held, but independently owned offices and almost an affiliation of sorts. In 2009, they brought on Mark Rose, who had been the CEO at Grubb & Ellis for 3.5 years while I was there. And he left for various reasons, left Grubb. And AY said, we love your vision. Take us and let's go. And so he brought them together. And the vision was, as I said, to have a privately held firm that was principal led, which what that means is the principals have a voice. There's a number of privately held firms, but it's usually in a small group of ownership hands. When I joined, I was principal number 73. We've got over 650. And the vision is to always be in a position where you're dealing with, at the senior level, with someone who has an interest in the company and that has maybe a longer term view of your best interests as opposed to just transactionally driven. And it's a very collaborative firm. We purposely have avoided a mid-management level. We do that on purpose because we don't want to create silos. We don't want people managing the P&Ls and their bonuses. And we want people to bring in the best resource to help their clients possible. And that's a vision that has resonated with a lot of people. And I give you the, example of, 300-400 people when I started to over 5,000. And they've come over because that vision appeals to them. And it doesn't make us the answer to everything, but it does differentiate us, and it is appealing to both the producers and the people that work for us, but also to our clients because they can kind of take them cradle to grave. We don't put our brokers in a box.
Right. Well, it's nice to have that, USP and, set yourself apart so that you do have something different to attract them.
Absolutely.
Let's circle back around. We alluded to this at the top of the show, but tell us how COVID has impacted your business and your customers.
Wow. That's such a big topic. I would say it's impacted everybody, but not everybody equally. It's been some, but it's been very positive on others. And I'll give you some examples. The positive is the easy one. That's industrial. With e-commerce, growing by leaps and bounds. The industrial market is on fire, and the issues they have is, how do I find space? It's not about what price can I get it at. It's can I get it, and then how do I find people to work in it? On the negative side, it's certainly some businesses were affected negatively, but I think it's the uncertainty of where, especially when we're in the very beginnings of it. What does this mean? What's it going to look like going forward? And I think we're sorting through some of those things. I don't think we all know the final answer. My take is the final answer is going to look different for a lot of different people. And I think from our perspective, it's where we can add a lot of value, because it's not just about what space can you find me? How can you negotiate it? It's how can we come alongside you, understand your business, help you understand what other people that are in your industry or that sort of look like you are making decisions, and how do you redesign space and all the things that go along with that. And what is the work from home? What does that mean? I mean, there's just so much going in. So we're not just a brokerage firm. We've got consulting. We've got some really cool tech tools that can help us aggregate data to help people make decisions. And that's opportunity for us, and it's the confusion and the challenges that our clients have right now.
Yeah, no, it's there's a lot there, and you've shared a couple of clues so far, but and on this show, we obviously lean a little bit more towards the residential side of things. But give us a state of the union on commercial brokerage, and where do you think we are at this time? These are intriguing economic times. Where do we stand?
I'll give you a couple answers. One, it's easy to go look at the numbers. If you go look at our publicly traded competitors, I mean, the middle of 2020 was really tough. There wasn't much going on. Uncertainty put everybody on pause. It was pins down. But if you look at the first quarter results for them and for us is the same way, very, very positive, because there is pent up demand. And I think, the economy is going to come back. This is going to be a lot different than the Great Recession. It didn't come about because there were market dynamics that weren't working. It came about from a pandemic that made everybody have to slow. But the economy before that was blowing and going. And I think there's a lot of pent up demand. So it's going to be very positive. To draw a parallel to residential, they're on fire right now. I think we're going to be the same way. There's probably not the lack of supply that they have on the residential side. There's still space out there on the office side. But interestingly, retail's coming back. And I'm not just talking about e-commerce. So there's, people out looking for spaces. We're representing a number of them that have, kind of put the foot on the gas pedal and say, we're going to take advantage of this. We're going to go grow. So, in general, I think it's positive, but there's going to, not everybody's, going upwards at the same trajectory.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting when you're talking about, industrial up here in Cartersville and near all the distribution centers that are coming in. And it is gangbusters as far as the growth and the, new buildings going up. So clearly there's a resurgence there. And some of that probably is e-commerce, but it's definitely growing.
Yes, very much so.
Well, for people who are going back to offices, talk about the co-working and flex options that businesses are starting to look at and move forward with.
Okay. Yeah. That's probably the one where we've got the least clarity on the co-working. I think we actually have a group that specializes in co-working, and it's not just talking to people who want to lease co-working space. It's working with building owners of what should we do from a co-working space, and then we talk to co-working firms and help them figure out where they should go. I think one size is not going to fit all. I think that there's going to be winners and losers in that world from the operator standpoint. I think what you're going to see more often than what we did before, where WeWork would come in and lease these massive amounts of space, and then they would kind of lease it for more. They would kind of lease it at $30 and then, rent it out at 45 or 50, if you broke it down to square footage. I think you're going to see kind of partnering where a firm will come in with a owner, the owner gives them the space, they manage it for them, and they share in profits. So you're going to see some of that. I think from our take is that almost all large firms are going to have a flex option in what they do. It won't all be flex, but it won't be long-term leases either. There's going to be the need for flex space, as you grow, maybe as you contract. So there's still, as I said at the beginning, probably the least amount of data, what it's ultimately going to look like, but it's here to stay. It's not going away, but it'll definitely evolve.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think it's a neat opportunity to do some interesting things and be innovative with how you rethink your office plan. I hope people take advantage of the opportunity to do some things that kind of really have a positive impact on the flow of their business. As we record this, we're sort of in the throes of all the announcements of all right, well, you welcome back now that you're vaccinated, and some organizations are being very strict about it. Some are much more casual. I mean, there's a lot of different play on how people are going to welcome people back that are vaccinated or not vaccinated. What are you seeing? What are you counseling? What do you anticipate happening?
I can tell you we're probably not counseling so much on what they do. We can share with what we're seeing. I know from the anecdotal stories I'm hearing, a lot of it is being driven by, how risk averse the company may be about liability that they may be taking on to, require people to come back. And then what does it look like when you get there? But my sense is that people want to come back. Early on, there was the story was, office space may be dead for in the future. There was a point, talking with our consulting group, they're out, every day talking with firms, answering these questions. And there was almost like a switch was flipped where they said, no, we got to get back because we can't maintain our culture. You can't, help young people grow. You can't hire, all those kind of things. So I think that question about whether office space is dead is gone. It's just, what does it look like? And I think it'll be varied as you go along. I can tell you, for Avison Young, we will be back in the office, and we are in some states. We're not in Atlanta right now for various reasons, but we have people coming back. We just haven't required them. But I think we're certainly going to be much more flexible on our people coming in. I think, some of the jobs, i.e. accounting, that you can do just as well from home or not, we're going to be much more flexible on that. I think there are those, though, that are going to have to be in the office, and it's something that we're working through. And I think there will be, some turnover, because some people say that doesn't work for me, but that's okay. They need to go find what they're looking at. But the majority of the people will come back on at least a 3-day a week type rotation, if not more. And I think they want to come back. There is some positivity in having the flexibility, but being all alone, just doesn't work for most people.
Are you ready to own a home, but don't know where to start? Speak to a local expert at New American Funding. Get pre-qualified and start looking for your dream home. They make home buying easy and convenient with a variety of home loan options. New American Funding is devoted to helping families finance their home because they want everyone to achieve the American dream. home ownership. New American Funding's technology is what sets them apart. Whether connecting with your home loan professional in person, online, or through the app, they are there to answer any questions. Call today to get pre-qualified. For more information, call 678-898-3540. That's 678-898-3540.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. We used to be out of the office 2 days a week. And now that we're back, we're in the office 2 days a week. So I don't know where we're going to land, but that's what everybody was comfortable with for now. So, yeah, kind of interesting. Well, what suggestions do you have for businesses for office space and updates and redesign as they head back to work?
That's a great question. And it kind of goes back to where I said that what we're providing is more than just trying to find you the space you want and a location you want at the best price. So a lot of this is bringing in firms that have, parts of their company that do workplace strategy, that come in with you and try and understand how you work, what your business goals are, what your business plan is, and then design the space around that. And it comes down to a lot of things. It's, what is the vision, for the CEO and the leadership, but also what are your employees looking for, and how do you work? And then how are others in our, similar type businesses working? That's where you bring in these experts, and they can help you craft a solution that's going to work now, but also in the future, and build flexibility into it. And that's where we think, going back to your question, what's the future of commercial real estate? That's where we really think we're going to add a lot of value. And we're investing a lot of money. We took the opportunity in the pandemic to invest heavily in consulting and in technology that will help our brokers assist clients in making those kind of decisions. And it's not one size fits all, whether it's, how often you come in or what your space looks like. It really depends on, what industry you're in. If you're a law firm, you're going to look completely different than you're a tech firm. But what does that mean? I mean, how do I, decipher that? Is it wide open? Probably not, jamming a lot of people in, kind of workbench type seating. That probably isn't going to happen for a while. Will it come back? Maybe. But for right now, let's sit down with the experts and look at it and help you make wise decisions.
What do you think the biggest changes will be? As you indicated a few minutes ago, a year ago when we were deep in this thing, there was all this panic, thinking commercial real estate's dead, and then the press loved to tell the stories that all these high-rise office buildings are going to be empty and vacant, and they love to tell that horror story.
Right.
Obviously, it's not panning out that way, but there's going to be change, I suspect, and what I've been hearing from a lot of my colleagues that are working in a space like that is that we just don't need as much space as we did before, because we are kind of evolving how we're operating. Are you seeing that trend? And another thing I thought that I've heard a lot about is that a lot of places are shifting to more hoteling in their workspace. We're not going to necessarily have your permanent workstation anymore, but maybe you'll be doing more hoteling. What kind of trends are you seeing in terms of those that are in fact coming back?
Yeah, I kind of all of the above. I would tell you hoteling is definitely going to happen because if you have flexible work times for people, they're only in the office 2-3 days a week. They don't necessarily need to have that space. But as far as less amount of space, there's the counter to that in that, I mentioned how many people can we get in the least amount of square feet? And I think that world is probably gone. And then going back to the flexible office, CoWorking deal, that's something that they're going to have to deal with, because I don't know that people, at least not immediately, are going to want to sit right next to somebody,
right?
Been what we've gone through. So the amount of space may not change that much. It may be a net zero. But the office space being dead, being here in Atlanta, we're the poster child for that not being true, with Microsoft coming in, leasing 500,000 square feet and then buying a development where they're going to build. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it'll be millions of square feet of office space, hiring thousands of people. So, and that's just one example. So that isn't true. I do think that, how we're doing this on Zoom has changed things from a business travel standpoint. That changes things. While you're still going to want to get in front of people, you maybe don't fly across the country for a 2 or 3 hour meeting like some of our people used to do or our clients used to do. You do it on this. So those things are yet to be determined what it finally shakes out to be. But I think overall, we will come out of this and it'll be a positive for everybody, because I think, being able to work and have some flexibility in your life is nice. It's one of the things I think, the Gen Zs and the millennials have wanted for some time. And we used to think about it as well. They can go, work at Starbucks or a co-working space. Now it's, maybe not leasing co-working space to just work from home. And, I think, my generation, we couldn't imagine not coming in. Part of the badge of how good you were is how many hours you spend in the office, and even I've adjusted.
Well,
I figured I can work somewhere else.
I saw a headline in the Wall Street Journal that even the CEO of Zoom has Zoom fatigue. So
yeah, that is a real thing.
It all shakes out. I mean, we're still in this thing and working our way through it. I think everyone says, "Oh, it's going to be a new normal." I think it's going to look a lot like the old normal. There'll be a few little modifications here and there, but it's going to largely shake down.
I think it may take a while though, Todd. I guess I'm on the opposite side of the fence from that. Being a business owner and knowing the impact to my bottom line for us going almost nowhere last year, I can't imagine that I'm not the only one who looks at those numbers and thinks, oh, we can do all this on Zoom. We don't have to go to all this stuff. Yeah. Business kept happening. Bills still got paid. Clients are still happy. So I'm very interested in seeing how it shakes out. So,
I think that's more a testament to you than it is functionality of Zoom.
Yeah, it is personal. I'll give you an example, though. We've got a hospitality group, investment sale group, and there was a hospitality conference last week, I believe it was, in Atlanta, and they had over 1,200 people there. So people are flying from all over the country to come together to get there. It wasn't done by Zoom.
Right.
So, will there be some adjustments? But, people need to be around people, and
and I can't wait to be able to go back to some of the big conferences that I have really missed.
Yeah, and there's a lot of equity in that for us. Those relationships matter in everybody's business.
Yeah. Well, one last question from me. What are you excited about for the rest of this year?
Oh gosh, there's so many things. I'm excited. And I guess I'm looking at it obviously through the lens of Avison Young, of all of the things we put in place that our leadership had the vision to say, these are things we're going to do, but let's kind of accelerate all the investments we want to make and how we now can go out and service clients in a way that we couldn't before. And, we've already got a number of success stories that people go, wow, I haven't seen anything like this. And so being able to, one thing I can tell you about real estate brokers, you're not in this business for very long unless you like helping people solve problems. And now we have more tools to help them solve their problems. And that's exciting for me. It's part of why I got in the business. And it's, the people that I manage, that's a big part of their world. And, they're embracing it now. Trying to figure out how it all fits in after you've done your business pretty much the same way for the last 20 years, maybe a little bit of a challenge, but being able to go out and offer opportunities in a time of uncertainty for our clients and help them make those hard decisions is really going to be exciting for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's exciting times ahead, no matter how this shakes out. It's going to be fun to see how it continues to shake itself out. All right. Well, Steve, before we let you go, should anyone need to connect with you and learn more about Avison Young, where do they go?
Go to our website, avisonyoung.com, and it's you can get in there and you can start it global. You can work it down in the U.S. You can work it down at the local level of Atlanta. We also have a presence on digital, so you can go out and find that. But it's probably our website is the best. And if you are local and you want to call our office, call me at 404-865-3663. That's our main number. And I'm always happy to take calls and talk to people.
Steve Dils, Managing Director of the Avison Young Atlanta office, also a principal with the company. Steve, great to have you. Thanks again for stopping by, and appreciate you making time.
My pleasure.
All right. Well, that wraps this week's All About Real Estate edition. Again, on behalf of our show sponsor, New American Funding, my co-host, Carol Morgan, I am Todd Schnick. That's all the time that we have for today. Thank you for tuning in and listening, and we'll look forward to seeing you again right here next week. We'll see you there.
Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio is made possible by Denim Marketing, the publisher of Atlanta Real Estate Forum, Atlanta's favorite source for real estate and home building news. Denim Marketing is a comfortable fit, like your favorite pair of jeans. Denim Marketing tailors marketing strategies to meet your specific needs and niche. Try them on for size. They will work to create a perfect fit for your company's marketing program. Call them at 770-383-3360 or send an email to info@denimmarketing.com. For more information on Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio or to inquire about being a guest, contact info@atlantarealestateforum.com. Check out the radio show by visiting atlantarealestateforum.com or by listening to the show on your favorite podcast app. And if you enjoyed today's broadcast, we'd sure appreciate a rating and review on iTunes. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next time on Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio.